broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
Damn you all to hell!
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Podcast. This is episode 14 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Michael Ball on the show again this week with my good friend and science fiction expert and interstellar god of knowledge of anything to do with science fiction. It's Mr. Martin Fowler again. Hello, Martin. You got a bigger build-up every week, mate. I bet you can't wait for next week.
What can I say?
I know. I love the way he's like, what's he saying? What's he like? How do I reply to that? No.
I'd say nothing.
Well, actually, do you know this week you've had a drum roll as well? You've had a drum roll.
Oh, not the drum roll.
Yeah, of course you had the drum roll.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah, of course you did. And then you had the, you know, that Eamon Holmes show when they're yeah, you had all that. Of course you had. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're going to destroy my life.
And you're not going to put this on your YouTube page either, the way we're going either.
No.
Never mind.
I'm shrunk about 6 foot at the moment.
Oh, don't. Never mind. So, firstly, how are you this week? What's been the latest with you?
I've got some tidbits of news.
Oh, good.
I don't know how you're going to feel about what I'm going to come out with.
Shall we?
Star Wars stuff. And,
okay.
Yeah, no, it's been good. I'm very happy at the moment.
Oh, you're good. Okay, well, that's brilliant. And are you getting quite worried about the coronavirus? How are you feeling about all that?
I'm watching it. I wash my hands like 20 times a day now.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Luckily, we managed.
20 seconds.
We got loads of hand gel before it all ran out and stuff, and it's it's just. I think a lot of it is just simply being thoughtful. A prime example is when you go into these fast food stores, like well, I won't give out names, but you know the ones, and you order junk food.
Yes,
and of course the new ones, they all have these sort of big pad things where you actually order them. They're on the wall, and you type in the menus and you type in the food. And of course, the thing is, then you type this, and you obviously you can even pay it, and then you go up and get your food. And I think to myself, are you really going to touch those burgers and those chips or fries or whatever after you've touched that panel where you probably had about 500 people before you, with probably half of them not washing their hands, covering their germs all over those pads? Have you any idea how many bacteria you're putting in your mouth when you're doing things like that? And that sort of thing makes me surprised that people aren't thinking, if I do that, I would put some hand gel on straight after, or go into the toilets and wash my hands. And a lot of people just don't do that. And that's how, it's just a bit of thought about, keeping your hands away from your mouth, away from your eyes.
Yeah.
Any times of anybody coughing or spluttering, obviously keep away. Just, I think a lot of it's common sense. But of course, that 2 years ago I caught the flu, and I've got a condition where it actually really works bad for me. I got pneumonia, and I ended up in intensive care.
Oh God!
And I was almost put on a respirator. I was in a bad way 2 years ago.
Bad, yeah.
So this bloody terrifies me. So I'm hoping. You don't know how the body reacts, and apparently the younger people are not affected at all. People in their 40s and 50s are okay. I think it's when you start to get to your 60s that the chances of it becoming dangerous are certainly go up. So I'm quite scared about this, but in the end, what can we do? I'm just going to try the best.
I worry about it if I use the tube or the buses. I don't.
That's
the bars and that now.
Oh no, the things I'm lucky. I never use public transport, hardly ever.
Right.
And I've got a van I work with on my own. I've got my own car, and we don't live in London, so we don't have tubes and stuff like that, and buses. And I wouldn't want to go on them at the moment anyway, quite frankly.
No, I get very annoyed if I'm forced to touch the bars.
Yeah.
I'm just being cautious. I wash my hands every time.
Yeah, just do that.
Risk. Yeah.
Just do that, and we'll just have to monitor it. So here we go. Anyway, let's go to the news now, and then we can see what's been happening in the world of sci-fi this week. Here we go. So the Sci-Fi
News.
All right, so this week we have had the final episode of Star Trek. The final episode of Doctor Who Season 12 or Series 12. I want to get your opinions on that because there were some really major long-term consequences for this, and a lot of people have been very upset about this. We've also had the Star Trek Picard Series 1, Episode 6, I think it was. So let's first of all go into... Which one do you want to talk about first?
It's got to be the Doctor, haven't it?
All right. Well, I actually loved this episode. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was just a complete success all round. One thing which I think was so clever about this... obviously, spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. There are some big changes ahead. So we've discovered that the Doctor isn't actually originally from Gallifrey. She or he at the time was from some unknown planet in a different part of the universe with a race. Now, this person, the Doctor, is the only identity from this world who we've discovered who has the power of regeneration, and regeneration came from her or him, and the Time Lords integrated it into their society many years ago, and of course it is really all thanks to the Doctor from this race. So a lot of people are upset about this, long-term Doctor Who fans. I am a long-term Doctor Who fan. I think it just gives the whole character a whole lot more mystery, a lot more depth, and I think this will just be a fantastic way of whatever happens in the Doctor's future. It's now based on this, I hope, and I hope it's not something which is forgotten, and I'm all for it. What do you think?
I thought it was. I'm going to say this. The episode was exemplary.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I sat watching that. I watched it twice on Sunday, and I thought, yeah, all right. There's a lot of complaining about the purity of it.
Yeah,
what they did, but I've got my own theories. A lot of people have. They could overturn all this in the next series.
Oh,
so they could do that. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. Because this series, we haven't had a clue what's going on, and Sunday night's episode was a mind blower. And a lot of people say, "No, it's all woke," and it's not. I don't care about any of that. I enjoyed this episode for what it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Was good.
I agree. I mean, I hope it's not. I hope that what's happened is fact, and that will always be the consequence now. And it's not that big a stretch, really.
No?
I mean, one of the factors that they said is that when we saw the Ruth Doctor, she had a police box TARDIS. So how could she have had that if William Hartnell's TARDIS was the first one to get stuck as a police box? I can understand that, but science fiction, you can write some idea why. It could be that the TARDISes are all telepathically linked, and the Ruth Doctor's TARDIS, which was different from the first Doctor who chose it, might have transmitted that this was the form that has been used before, and maybe the TARDIS purposely got stuck in a police box in the first time. You know, you could do that sort of thing.
Couldn't they have done? I know this is a bit whacked out and crazy, but Doctor Who was in the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Right, which we know what the Matrix is. That where all their knowledge. It takes all your memories, doesn't it? When you're alive, it records your life.
I thought the Ruth Doctor was just like a memory, not specifically her. It was more like it was a downloaded data of her. Yes,
but I think, and because something about the Cyber Lords, when he created the Cyber Lords,
yeah,
when he killed one of them, it regenerated. Now, if they were dead, they won't regenerate. I'm just saying, maybe the consciousness of the entire Time Lord race is in the Matrix, and that's the data that's missing.
I mean, go on.
It's only fair, and that the bodies are not dead; they're all just dormant.
Yeah,
that's theoretical, but then you've got the whole Brendan thing.
Well, the Brendan thing was interesting because Also, one thing I was thinking, if the Brendan was a version of the Doctor before the Doctor, then when he fell off that cliff and he came back to life, wouldn't he have died and simply regenerated?
Well, maybe he did, but what they did, every time he regenerated, they erased his mind.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, it's... I don't know, there's a lot... It left more questions than answers, but it was a damn good watch.
It was a good watch, and it was it was a real mixed bag this season. It did have some lows, but I think it had more highs than lows. I actually think all credit to Chris Chibnall. I think he's done a good job for this season. It's certainly now. Last season he tried to do everything like a clean sweep with new stories, new races, and the thing is that was one thing which he should have done, because part of Doctor Who's appeal is the long-term history of the various villains and races that he or she, the Doctor, has encountered. And that's one of the factors last year. We didn't know any of the races. But I don't think last season had all bad episodes. I thought the civil rights episode in the 90s was very good. And I also liked the Demons of the Punjab one, which I thought was also very good. So it wasn't all bad. But it was, like I said... I've really enjoyed the season. I'm really pleased that I've stuck with it. I would have stuck with it anyway. I'll always be watching it now.
I'm on about it, but I watch it.
Yeah. I'm still disappointed that the ratings have been poor this year again. But then, from what I understand, I saw something about the director of entertainment on BBC somebody saying, what about the ratings? Well, they said, well, look, Doctor Who is such an important staple still is in British society and British BBC TV that they said they've got no plans at the moment to pull it. So we know that there's a 13th series in the works. I think it starts filming in autumn for next year. Yeah. Yes, it's another wait, but it goes by so fast. But they've also done the next episode, it'll either be Christmas or New Year's. I have heard that some of the people are leaving in this next episode. I will say that. So I won't say who or why or how or anything. But there are some big rumours that it's going to be the end of some characters in the next episode at Christmas. But Doctor Who is always about moving on. And who knows? I mean, it's still early days yet. You don't know exactly what's going to happen yet.
Do you know what my favourite scene was? I love him as the Master.
Oh, God, he was great. I liked him. I think he's amazing. He's like a Joker master. He's totally lost the plot now. He's gone beyond insanity. They've really got a good master, and he'll be back next year.
And he's ultimately evil. And the three things I liked when he said to her, "I despise you more now than ever because I've got part of you inside me." Which it's down to you. With that. But what made me laugh was that I was a big fan of the Lone Cyberman.
Yeah.
I like the look of him, with human face and all that.
Yeah.
And he was a bit messed up. Well, when he showed him the particle, and he said, "Well, I'm going to kill all organic life, and we're all going to become machines." And he said to him, "What robots?" He said, "We've got planets full of robots." He said, you lack vision.
Yeah, but you see, I know what it was. I think the Lone Cyberman, because he wasn't properly converted, he still had partly human in him, i.e. emotions, and I think that his drive was to rid, because one of his remaining emotions was hate and anger and loathing of life. So he wanted to completely change the Cybermen into a cybernetic race, a complete robotic race. That was how I read him.
But there's no vision with it. It's all a bit boring.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
he would know just how he was. So he had this master plan for 1,000 years, and he just undid it all in like a minute, and it was just so funny. It just shrunk him. I wasn't even expecting.
Oh, I love
I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, we've not seen the tissue compression since the 80s.
No.
With the Anthony Ainley master, who was probably. I know that Roger.
I'm a big fan of him.
I thought he was brilliant, and because he actually I mean, is it Roger Delgado, the original one?
Anthony Ainley.
Oh no. I mean, Roger Delgado was the first one, and he was.
Yes,
he was only opposite the third Doctor, but
yes.
Anthony Ainley, he came against the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors.
He did. He was in it for quite a while. Wasn't
He was in it for a long time. He was in it the whole of the 80s until 89. So he was actually my master, if that's the case. I mean, that was
no, that's cool.
But I thought he was really good.
Great master, but the new one, I love him.
I just
think he's great. He's just so mad.
I think that I think he's before Missy.
Yeah, that'd be interesting because
I think he's before Missy. I think he's after John Tim.
Yeah, because we need to know like how because when they shot each other, they couldn't regenerate.
Yeah. I mean, and that would explain that Missy really was the last master and died.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that'd be a really cool twist. So I don't.
He survived that, and he'll be next.
Oh, he'll be back. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we need to know when in the Master's timeline he is.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with Doctor Who. Everybody tries to make sense out of it, and like she said a couple of weeks ago, it's different timelines to go to all the time. So, anything's possible.
It's really good. It's really exciting. I mean, I have no idea what. I mean, obviously, we're going to have other versions of the Doctor at some point coming back, I assume. I'm all for it. I love it. I think it's great. It's a shame it's going to be so long until we see the next one. But
I'm actually going to buy the Blu-ray set of this. I'm not buying the last season, but I'm buying this one.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to get copies of all of them. But yeah, I mean, I've got all the existing episodes of Doctor Who in my collection, and it's really good. It has highs and lows. The last season felt to me like the late 80s seasons when Doctor Who felt like it was winding down, ready to be cancelled and stuff. But this season it jumps right up a gear. So we got another year with this Doctor, and then after that, after she's done her 3, whether then they'll start saying it's time to finish on a high. If it did finish on a high, it's been on for 15 years again. 15 years. With 12 seasons and loads of specials. And that's a wonderful addition to the classic series, plus the Peter Cushing movies, plus the 1996 American TV movie. That's a ton of Doctor Who.
The Peter Cushing movies fit into canon. You're not going to believe this.
How? Oh!
Right. Yeah, no, straight up the fit into canon. Seriously.
You mean because of this new revelation?
No, well, yeah, I think it popped up in a couple of series ago. I read it, it's confirmed. It's that it was units, it was the government's way they put the Doctor's fingers 2 movies out. That were because some top secret files had been released and it was turned into a film. That's how they did it. That's how they've connected the Cushing movies.
I heard that they were going to feature that on the 50th anniversary. There was going to be something about it, but they didn't get the rights to it or something.
Right. Is that different rights then?
I think so. I'm not sure. I think they wanted to feature the Peter Cushing in some reference, like on the pictures or something in the unit, but I think I heard that there was something where it was turned down or something. I like the Peter Cushing movies. I think they're really good. And as you know, I changed the TARDIS sound to the classic TARDIS sound in my version. Well, that's me sound editing and stuff. So, but yeah, I like the Peter Cushing movies. I think they're good. So, always worth a watch. So that's Doctor Who done. Very good series. Bring on season 13 next year. So, I guess that takes us to the other big sci-fi series, and this is going to be an interesting discussion. Episode 6 of Star Trek Picard. If you're still there.
I'm still there, I'm waiting. I'm shocked at what you said before. I want to know why. I'm curious because you were a big fan of it.
I have been watching it, and I thought the first couple of episodes were good. I think my problem with this series is that, first of all, Patrick Stewart's fantastic, and he's Picard. He's a very old Picard, but naturally we're all old. So Patrick Stewart's Picard at this point, he doesn't have quite the authority because he's an old man, but the fact is that what I'm not into this so much is, first of all, the society of the 24th century, even when they've had wars before, it still felt like the Federation, humanity had evolved to a point where people were above things. They didn't seek finances. They weren't sort of like always on drugs. There wasn't graffiti on the walls. They weren't swearing at each other. And it just feels that it doesn't just quite feel Star Trek to me. I'm not a big fan of the characters on the ship that much. And I think the story is interesting. I thought it started off very well with the synths, especially when they took over Mars or attacked Mars. And then we had the idea of, these two androids, which are Data's daughter. But I can't explain it quite frankly, but it just it's not quite working as much as it should do for me. I'm hoping, now the next episode we're going to see Riker and Troy, which will be interesting. That'll be some of the old group. But at the moment, I'm watching it and I was wondering, is it me? But then let me put it to the context. I just watched that Doctor Who episode. I thought it was fantastic. I watched The Mandalorian. I thought it was fantastic. I watched The Orville. I thought it was fantastic. So it's not me getting older and perhaps just not getting such a buzz out of stuff. I just watched this series and I just don't feel it's quite clicked with me. And I can't really explain it more than that. It's good. It's a good production, but it feels like someone is trying to make Star Trek but not quite getting what Star Trek's about, at least for me.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but I mean, how I see it is that with Deep Space Nine, you got something that was a bit darker in the world of the Federation.
Oh, no.
That's like that. Say that if you've got a bridge, Deep Space Nine's the bridge in between there, where everybody's perfect in TNG to where we are now.
Yeah, but
I was surprised with her having alcohol problems because we were meant to sort of be beyond that.
That's right.
What's this about money as well? I mean, I thought they got rid of money.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the whole point, I think they said this on one of the First Contact, they said that one of the perspectives of humanity is to better themselves, not to seek things like financial gain, and to have a better perspective and just want to be part of a society where you live life and you contribute in a way where you're part of a collective. And this series, they're all, you got him with it's sort of like on the bridge drinking and getting off with the science woman who, she seemed nice, but she seems like a bit of a slapper now. You got the old Alki who's no, oh mate, I just really going off this series fast, I'm afraid to say. And also, it would be great if they actually won a bloody Federation ship. I know it shouldn't be, but even Deep Space Nine, it had Federation people on there. You need, I don't know. It's just something's not quite right for me. I can't.
Well, there was holo addiction, wasn't there? Holo addiction's a big problem on Earth.
Yeah,
it's holo. That's a massive problem.
Yeah, that's the point. We had Reg Barkley with his holo addictions and stuff like that.
Yeah, but apparently it's a bit of a problem back home on Earth as well.
Yeah, well, same as like TV addiction or something. Okay. Well, I don't know. I need to. I'm getting a sort of more of a red alert in my head that's saying this isn't quite right. And it started off so well in the first couple of episodes, but if it could all turn around. I know I've heard that a certain actor is coming back who I think. Do you want me to spoil it for you, or do you want me to edit surprises?
No, tell me. I don't mind.
I've heard that John Delancey's back as Q.
Oh yes, he's in final episode. Yeah.
So I've heard that. You've heard that as well.
There's been a picture sort of got leaked, a bit of him dressed in red.
Yeah, actually, I think you might have mentioned that actually last week.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When we've seen the whole season, then it might be. It's like last year with you with the Doctor Who. You're saying, "That's it. I'm done. It's terrible." I'm thinking about giving up on it, and then of course it's come back. You've changed your mind now. You're even going to talk about buying the Blu-ray. So at the moment, I'm on the fence with the whole thing. It's not quite working.
The characters. I mean, I do like him with the beard. Han Solo. We call him Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, when he sat there with a piece of metal out of his shoulder and drinking whiskey and a big cigar, it was all a bit, come on, you know.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel quite like he's I don't know, it doesn't quite feel right to me.
An elf guy, I mean, he's
boring. He's just like a Lord of the Rings or something. He doesn't seem to.
Yeah,
he's just there.
Program.
Yeah, I mean, he's like he's like he's from Middle Earth or something. And it's just, I can't explain it, mate. It's just
I like Raffi. I'm a big fan of Raffi. I like her character.
I don't like her.
Don't you like her? I think she's great.
No, she doesn't feel. And keeps calling him JL or whatever. I don't know. At the moment, I'm not liking the recurring characters.
Well,
at all.
apparently, I watched a YouTube video. I don't know if this is true. I'll have to send you. I'll find it. Apparently, a lot of this is not down to it's down to Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, I know. He didn't want just another Star Trek series. I know that. I do concede that.
Yeah, apparently, one of the writers said, well, you know, don't blame us, it's him.
Yeah,
He wants something darker and more human, you know, and
yeah, but it's like they've regressed. It's like asking you in the 21st century to suddenly act like it's like 1920s, and you suddenly decide to talk all pompous and
yeah, but I mean,
it's like it's regressing. It's like humanity's regressed in this season.
I had this debate in the pub when I met some friends at the Comic Mart, and we were talking about it, and we went into Deep Space Nine, which I think is the key to a lot of this, because in the Next Generation, from Kirk's time to Next Gen, it was the golden age. Every exploration, they descaled the military, and they were all a bit up their own backside. There were no perceived real threats, really.
Yeah, but
the Cardassians were a regional threat. The Klingons just did their own thing, and they were friends. But Romulans, they just get up to weird stuff by being secret. There were no real threat, and then the Borg thing started with Q, and that changed everything.
And then the Dominion on DS9.
The Dominion war, and the Federated never had a war on that level before, and now though after Dominion War.
So you're saying 20 years after all these experiences, perhaps society has somehow become a lot more jaded, a lot more old, more like 21st century, based on that.
Starfleet is a military organisation, but it sort of, with the Kirk times, it descaled, didn't it? Descaled a lot of its military, because there were no major threats. I mean, there were skirmishes, but, you know, so they went more into like exploration, and even though they did have like a military, they went another way, because Next Gen, it's all wonderful.
Yeah,
you know,
it was too. Yeah, it was a bit too. But I know. But Deep Space Nine, I don't know. I mean, Deep Space Nine is my favourite series, but the characters were so bloody good, and all the recurring characters were so good.
But after there was ramifications. Then the Romulan star system got destroyed, didn't it? And there were all that fallout.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously,
and there's been numerous Borg incursions as well since then. There's been apparently.
Well, look, let me. I think you provided a very good sort of argument about why it's different.
I think the argument does hold, but obviously there is flaws like the economy, because I can't figure this.
No.
That when they leave Federation space, how do you trade with other races? You're gonna need.
Well, I thought
how did they pay for the drinks?
Yeah, I did wonder that. Well, actually, I thought that the Federation did issue, because they weren't on the Starfleet ship. People on Deep Space Nine were, and I think that Latinum, although it's a Ferengi currency, I think it was a universal currency. Latinum was mentioned last week on the last episode of Picard.
Yes, it was.
So it must be that it's not just solely based on the Ferengi commerce. It must be that it's more like a universal financial system, which is also integrated into other societies. But like I said, I always thought that the Federation gave Starfleet officers on DS9 an amount of latinum so they could physically use the facilities on an alien space station.
Well, the Federation has got the wealthier worlds in it. I mean, you know, it's a more comfortable place to live in.
So on Earth, they don't need latinum, but like I said, they will still get latinum for certain countries when certain planets where finances are still used as currency.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I think. But let's see.
I mean, I've read several books about it. Trust me, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, they need to sort this out.
Well, then maybe they will.
You know,
maybe they will. But like I said, let's just go with it. But like I said, I'm not clicking with any of the characters, although Patrick Stewart's great.
No, I get that.
I
I
thought Jerry Ryan was great in her episode, like I said, I don't know. I need to see more. I mean, we've only seen these characters for 3 or 4 episodes, really.
Yeah, but it's Elf Boy. He's pointless.
Well, his ears are pointed.
Elf Boy.
Apart from the ears, yeah.
But I mean, did you hear the ending when it finished? Do you want to live? That's all you heard. It just as credits came.
Yeah.
Do you want to live? And that were like he beamed aboard and slaughtered everybody, and they went through that device, and it were like obviously they've gone to this planet or the 2 moons with the red lightning. I mean, I'm into the conspiracy. I think the conspiracy is getting fascinating because I want to know her father. You don't see his face.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you think about Law or something. Yeah.
But the characters, I've gelled with most of them, even like Han Solo. Do you know he was in Heroes? He was in the first season. Him.
I've not seen Heroes.
No, I didn't know. Somebody told me on Sunday he was the artist in Heroes years ago. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, but I've not seen Heroes. So, but I mean, I have heard of it before. So, is that another series you recommend?
First season, then forget rest.
Oh, okay, one of those series.
Yeah. The first season.
So yeah, it's interesting. So anyway, it's like I said, it's different, and I can see there are some good elements, but I don't know yet. Let's see the first season, and then we'll come back.
I agree with you on some of the characters. The cyberneticist one, she I find her completely boring.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, she just sits. I mean, she's done all right. She killed him, but most of the time she just sits on the chip doing nothing.
But I thought she was okay, and then she starts shagging Han Solo. Because she's bored or something. I just thought, for goodness sake, it just sounds...
Then she killed him.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And I'm like, well, what's going on here? I mean, and Elf Boy, don't get out, honestly. I ain't got time.
Elf Boy, I mean, he's like I said, he's like he's out in Middle Earth.
I like Han Solo. And,
Han Solo's
all
right.
I like the 2 Romulans that live with Picard.
Yeah, I like them. I like those. Especially, one of them was in an episode of Doctor Who, the Irish, the woman.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
Yeah, she was in the Day of the Doctor. No, the Time of the Doctor, the last episode. So, and you can tell she's very Irish, the way she looks, even though she's got...
Irish Romulans.
Yeah, I know, and she's quite cute as well, so there you go. Anyway, so let's see how it goes. Hopefully, if we can get Gianna Troy and Riker, I mean, maybe we might actually see a Federation starship at some point. That would be bloody good.
With Worf on it, that'd be even better.
Oh no, come on, let's see some Federation, please. Let's see some Starfleet officers. Come on.
What did you think to Hugh?
Actually, I thought he was good. I liked the meeting.
Very good.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was great.
Is it the original?
Yes, Jonathan Del Arco, I think his name is. Yep, Hugh Borg was back. Obviously not recognisable from his first. And there was a very good scene in the episode, though, which I did like, where you see Picard looking at the monitor, and you see him looking at a picture of himself as Locutus. Yes. And then you see the other side of the screen, where you see Locutus on the screen, and you see Patrick Stewart's Picard behind it. That was a good scene, and also Picard's anger at the Borg and his almost like rape of what happened to him in the past, which I thought was really good. So it's not all bad, but it does, for me at least at the moment, have some problems. Let's just leave it like that. Right, do you want to go on to the sci-fi focus of the week?
Yeah. I thought, what about the news?
Cool. Oh, sorry, any other news? Sorry, yeah, go on.
We found out how Palpatine got off the Death Star.
Oh, I heard about that. He's a clone.
Yes, I mean, it was obvious from minute. I mean, if that's all they've come up with, I mean, it took them that. No, but it told you how we got off as well.
And it would explain why.
Coming out now, yeah.
And it would explain why we see the older Palpatine without the disfigurement on his forehead, because it was a clone, so he looked more like his original self.
Yeah, he was trapped inside the clone as well, because when he teleported his spirit out of his body, he was so powerful that the cloning technology wasn't advanced enough, even though it took 20 years to hold his spirit. This was the secret of immortality, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think that's good.
I think it is good, but I mean, it was obvious when he walked into that planet though, full of clones. Snoke apparently was just a cloney thing what they made.
Yes, I mean, because obviously you saw the clone Snoke clones in that one, so it was clear that there were clones of him, and he was just genetically created, I assume, from whoever. I think it's good. I think it helps, because when he got killed in Return of the Jedi, how could he survive that? But of course,
there's a great passage in the book. Somebody, Star Wars Fairy read it out today. Apparently, when he was falling down the shaft, he looked up and he saw Vader's face getting smaller as he was flying.
What? Oh God! I know that one.
Looking over, apparently, and he was looking up, and he was so annoyed that he'd been betrayed that Vader's face was getting smaller as he was going down the shaft.
Oh God! Well, yeah, fair enough. I don't know, it's a bit weird, but like I said, it's
pissed about it. He were pissed about it, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it was good. Like I said, it's good that we've had some sort of acknowledgement. It's a shame it wasn't on screen, but I could live with that. Like I said, it's you know, I mean, it's when's it out actually? When's the next Star Wars film out to buy? I wonder.
I think it's April 2nd. They're releasing this 9-part box set on Blu-ray. You're not getting Rogue One and Solo in there, which I'm quite annoyed about.
Oh, they should have that on there.
But it's on Amazon, because they sent me a link for it. I'm not buying it. £200.
What? But you said it's going to be April. You said so. Only next month.
April 2nd thing, yeah.
Oh, that'll soon come by.
I'm going to buy the film, but they've released this like centenary box set or whatever. It's about 20 discs of extras. I mean, there's loads of photographs. But basically, everybody's saying, well, why didn't you put the other 2 movies in there?
Yeah, they should have done that.
I'm not paying £200 for 8 movies I've already got.
Yeah, but only the real fanatics will get that. I mean, I mean, I'll get the normal. I'll get the one on its own, the episode 9. But no, I mean, I've got all the Blu-rays of the Star Wars films.
Yes,
and that's you've got to have the Blu-rays of the Star Wars films.
Have you seen the Clone Wars, the new one?
No, I've not seen the old one yet. I know that season 7's just been released or started off. Without giving too many spoilers, are you enjoying it, or are you waiting until?
I've not seen it. I just if you caught it. I've seen the old series. I've not seen the new one yet.
I've still got to see the original one yet. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of The Mandalorian. I can't wait for that to come back this year.
Well, apparently season 2 is going to tighten up Palpatine, apparently.
And I've heard that series is going to go on for 5 seasons.
Yes, and that Baby Yoda looks like it was some kind of clone experiment for him. Yeah.
Well,
it does make sense now, doesn't it?
And of course, the guy that's Gideon, what's this?
Yes, yeah.
He was on Breaking Bad, which is a series which is very. It's not my normal genre, but I watched Breaking. Have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
I saw. Is that him that sells the drugs?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of them first season. I sort of tried watching it, but it was.
It's not something I would normally get into, but I did watch it. I thought it was very good. But he's in that. He's really good in Breaking Bad, right. So I think he's going to be a really good villain in season 2. So I look forward to seeing him.
Fantastic series.
Yeah, brilliant. Any other news from your perspective? You want to share with us?
No, I think that's it really. That's the big thing that came out last week, that he was a clone.
Brilliant.
Which we all knew anyway.
Yeah, we did. We had that. That makes it really will help out when I watch it again now to know that it's not the original Palpatine, which was an issue for a lot of people, including myself. So brilliant, excellent. Okay, on that note, we'll go into the Solo One Sci-Fi Focus of the Week. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
Focus of the Week.
All right. Given this terrifying coronavirus, which isn't as terrifying as it should be, because at the moment it's got it's a very low proportion of people who succumb, and it seems to be with underlying medical problems or old age and things like that. I mean, I've got to be careful. So, but like I said, if and when it comes, I'll be careful. So, based on that, we are now focusing on the 1975 series Survivors, which the synopsis very quickly reads as: Survivors is a British post-apocalyptic fiction drama. It's a television series created by Terry Nation and produced by Terence Dudley at the BBC. That broadcast from 1975 until 1977. It concerns the plight of a group of people who have survived the apocalyptic plague pandemic, which was accidentally released by Chinese scientists and quickly spreads across the world via air travel. Referred to as the Death, the plague kills approximately 4.999 out of 5,000 human beings on the planet within a matter of weeks, and that's what happens. So I only got into this series quite late. Actually, my mum, who's not a sci-fi fan, she told me about this series. I think I first watched it probably in the 90s, so when I was an adult, and I was really blown away by the first season. The BBC released the first season on VHS. At that point, they hadn't released season 2 or 3, which I eventually saw. But from my perspective, season 2 was okay. Season 3, it lost it a bit. But the first season was very, very good. And on the whole, I think it was an excellent creation. What do you think about it yourself?
We used to watch it in our house when it were on TV. My dad were into it.
Right.
It was like family viewing. I mean, that used to freak me out as a kid because there was something realistic about it.
That's right.
It was the opening credits used to terrify me for some reason.
It was really creepy credits.
And the music.
I wish I'd seen it when I was younger, like I said. But it's still, when I saw it, it still had a really big impact on me. And it's a series I go back to every few years and watch it again because it is just an excellent series. It had wonderful characters, production values for its time, and it felt really... The thing is, when you see the new Survivors, it's good, but it has like a lot of the big sort of background music, and it's more like a TV series, whereas this felt almost like it was real. It was real people, and it was creepier and it was scarier, especially that first season. And Carolyn Seymour as Abby Grant was excellent in the first season as well. And it really was a terrifying time, especially at the beginning, where society just breaks down within weeks, and you have these few remaining people who are looking for other people who are totally alone. It's about... The whole story is about survival, and that's what I liked about it.
Don't they start a colony towards the end or something like?
Yeah, I mean...
From what I remember, there's like a colony in Wales. They've got I remember they had a watermill.
Yeah, and
house. I remember that.
There were sort of different collections of people starting to build sort of society and their own sort of independent sort of groups, and they were like starting to get phone lines put up. And starting to work together by trade. So one group would need this, the other group would do that. And I mean, the season, when the series finished, the thing is, it's a series that could never properly finish because it never would. Their plight, their whole change of life won't ever return to normal.
No.
And when they remade The Survivors, which you've still not seen, I liked it. But it might have been better if they could have brought it as a continuation of the original. How interesting would that have been to actually go back to The Survivors 20 years after, or 25 years, or however long it was, and actually seeing how society was and the new problems. But of course, it wasn't that well known, at least it wasn't from my perspective. So maybe if they did that, then people would say, well, we never saw the original first series in the first place, so we don't really connect with the storyline.
I think that would have been an awesome idea.
Yeah, well, I've always thought that. I think it would have been a good idea, but it didn't happen. But like I said, when you watch the remake, it does have some great storylines, the main, although the different actors, Tom Price is back, and he's very different from the original Tom Price, and like I said, you had all the others. It was good. It was a good series.
I remember one scene. They were driving around in like one of them 1970s transit vans.
Yes.
And there was somewhere, and the end of it was a farmhouse, and this guy had the virus, and he was foaming at the mouth. And he was walking towards them, and they shot him. I never forgot that. That's what I do remember of it. That was
a person with rabies. There was an old man in season 3 who had rabies. There's a rabies outbreak, and he's aware of it, but I think he gets bitten by a dog or something. And then, of course, when you have rabies, you can't drink water. And he was foaming at the mouth, and these people shot him. I think it's shot, and that wasn't the death. That was the rabies. But of course, you have all these other viruses and illnesses, which of course become more prevalent when there's things like pollution. Well, not pollution, but there's raw sewage, rotting bodies, things like that. So it causes all sorts of further complications for the survivors of the death. I thought it was a very good series. I thought Karen Seymour was really good. It's a shame that she left. Apparently she fell out with the producers, which is why she left at the end of season 1, and she never came back, which is a shame. We had some great, interesting recurring characters, and also some well-known actors. Roger Lloyd Pack, who was Trigger in Only Fools and Horses. He appeared in two-parter, I think it was called The Lights of London, which is quite a creepy episode. And you also had, who else did we have on it? Patrick Troughton made an appearance as well. One of the Doctors appeared. Brian Blessed was also in it as a really... he was a soccer fan who... he owned a train, and he was just kind of like... he was a really sort of menacing sort of leader, and he was intimidating all his followers and stuff, and he was quite a creepy character. I thought it was really good. I thought it was and it provided some really interesting storylines.
I think the opening, the thing that gives that series an identity is the music and the opening credits.
Yeah.
It's so scary because there's something so realistic about that opening. It's kept so simple, but it's realistic, and that is the beauty of it.
I think also the first season, it starts off in winter, so it's very, obviously everything's really bare. All the trees are looking dead, and it's the environment seems more sinister because, if it'd been like the first season was in a beautiful middle of summer and all the green trees and all the birds singing, although they were alive, it's still. But it just came across as really. There was nothing. Even winter is a horrible time of the year where everything's dead and cold and inert and stuff like that. And it's I hate winter myself, but it just had this feeling about it that just to me always stuck in my mind. And it was it was interesting what happened to some of the characters. But I heard was it who was his name? Ian McCullough. He was an interesting character because he let's see what is his he played Greg Preston, and in the show he got the girl pregnant, and I can't remember her name, but they were together, and in the end the last episodes he got there was a disease which he caught because he got involved with this criminal sect. And what he did was he decided to not tell them that he was ill, but he went off with them and acted like he'd abandoned all his friends. But he did it actually to be a hero, to actually save them, but to kill these horrible group of thugs who had taken over the area. And it was good. It was really good. But episodes that stand out for me, like I said, was the guy I mentioned with the guy who had the plague. The early episodes, the Tom Price episode where he kills a girl in the settlements, and what he does is he rapes and kills the girl who's with them, and then he plants evidence like a bloody towel or something. They have a character there who's a bit challenged, shall we say. He's got a low IQ, and he plants the facts that the other guy's the guy who killed her, and then they think, so what do we do now, because we haven't got a police force, we haven't got a law, and so in the end they sort of like decide by a vote whether just to let the guy who probably couldn't look after himself, just to let him go, like drive him like 40 miles away and just leave him, or to they can't really imprison him because they haven't really got a decent way of keeping him locked up. So they decide in the end they have to shoot him, and they kill him via like their version of corporal punishment. And then Tom Price says, "Well, actually, it was me who did it," and it was just bloody good stuff. Really powerful storylines. Really, really recommend it.
Well, I might give this a look.
Seriously, is the whole series on YouTube?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get the chance, give it a rewatch, because especially the first season, it's really, really well made. and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think it's definitely well worth a watch again if you got the time. That's what I was
I
just
think
about.
what's good about this stuff is how we revert back to like our ancestors in behaviour as well.
Yeah, because you haven't got all the... But also, what I always find interesting, that this was made in 1975, where, of course, there was a lot less dependence on electrical things.
Yes,
and, of course, there are lots of libraries and lots of things which you can physically read. Now, you wouldn't get... Like, if you're looking for maps in cars, most cars would have sat-navs. All right, sat-navs, you could power them from a car, but they need satellites and stuff to transmit. So I don't... Would sat-navs work? I don't know if they work.
If there's
if they're in space,
things have got to be moved up satellites to beam down. So if there's no power on the ground.
So you'd have no maps. You still got libraries, but libraries are really minimal now, unless you're up in London or certain places. I always found it fascinating that if it was now, yes, the cars would last a lot longer because there's a lot more bloody cars, but you would have a lot less ways of accessing information. The internet would be gone. Where would you find all the information? It makes you think, and that's what good sci-fi does. It makes you think about.
There's a series, a science series. It's on YouTube. Life After Man. You should give it a look.
All right. Okay. Life After Man.
It was made. It's a factual series. What they do is they CGI'd it all. That if man disappeared.
No. It's Life After People. You mean?
Life
and
After
I've
People,
got the whole series. It is absolutely brilliant. It really makes you think.
Yeah.
It's about 10 episodes, and it has one focuses on water or animals, one focuses on cities, one focuses on how long would power last.
Yes.
And it's really, really good. And it goes like 1 year after people, 10 years, 50 years, 500 years. I've got them all. It's really, really good, and it really makes you think.
Yes.
It's funny because with all the rain we've had, we had the wettest February in the UK this year ever in history.
Yes,
It was,
and
there were some tennis courts quite near me, which I walked past. And because it's been quite mild and really wet, all the moss has sort of slowly crept on the tarmac where people haven't been out because it's been too wet. And the whole thing, the tennis court was starting to look green because there's been no one to put some chemicals down. Well, they could have done that, but they haven't because it's been wet. But when I saw that, it made me think of Life After People. Whereas it doesn't take long for vegetation and life to start to try to come back without our presence. But Survivors is about that as well. It's about humanity battling the elements, and I think it did it.
It's funny, but back in the 80s when they had all them video nasties, they did all them post-apocalyptic movies that like Mad Max and all this other stuff, when society had fallen down and there were no governments and law, that everybody were running around with mohawk wearing leather and
God.
Have bows and arrows tied to their arm. It never made any sense. They were all running around like that, like
I've got to watch Mad Max. I saw it about 20 years ago, but I never clicked with it. It's funny.
I didn't click. I clicked with the third film. But
I've not seen the first one. I'm glad that like I said, you feel so. It was just there. It didn't sort of work for me for some reason. I don't know why that was.
I like the new one that came out. That was I was surprised actually. That was very good.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but like I said, it's funny. We like different things, but
build a bunker.
Build a bunker. What's that?
Well, a bunker, under your house, and then when it happens, go live in it.
I think this is
what
a
they call them preppers in America. Them that build themselves bunkers under the house and put guns and food. They're all paranoid,
When I lived in London, we lived in an old conversion house, and the garden was split into three. This is when I lived with my mum, and in the garden was an old air raid shelter, which actually went underground. It was really creepy.
Was it all intact?
It was and it went down there. They had sort of like those light things with the batteries in it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and the thing is, though, I really shouldn't have gone down there because you don't know how structurally sound it was. This is back.
No, I hadn't seen one of them. Years.
I mean, this was about 25 years ago. I mean, it's long gone now, but it was quite creepy, but quite interesting at the same time, especially when you're a kid. Yeah. But it probably was a bad idea to do that. But anyway, so any other last words on Survivors?
No. I think the message in it is very relevant for now.
Yeah, it was, and it's a classic. So I want you to see the remake when you get a chance, and then we'll do another series on the remake. So thank you, that's brilliant. All right, it's big. It's my big moment. Are you ready for this week's Predator versus? Are you ready?
Yeah. I will be sat with questions. It's on you this week.
All right, here we go. Here's the jingle.
Predator versus.
All right, so this week I decided to do Predator versus Red Dwarf. Two different things. So here we go. Are you ready for this? Here we go.
Yeah.
I wrote this down on Word. I've read this out. I only did this about half an hour before we came on, so it's a bit off the cuff. Here we go.
I'm ready.
All right, we start off with a Predator on his ship looking for a potential new conquest. He's a long way from Earth. However, his ship has a Predator coaxial Delta carbonate Starstream drive, so he can get very far very fast. He then gets a proximity alert to a temporal anomaly very near, but with the gravitational pull of a black hole. He tries to steer his ship away, but it's too late. He gets sucked in and loses consciousness. He wakes up later and looks at his readings to discover that he's actually in the same part of space, but now at another time, approximately 3 billion years in the future. After checking his systems, he decides to look for potential hunt material. In the weeks that follow, he discovers that all the alien life that he discovers are only descended from creatures or the actual planet of Earth. He challenges Gelfs, he challenges polymorphs, mechanoids and simulants, but nothing really proves a good opponent. So then he's on his travels looking around, and he suddenly discovers the mining ship Red Dwarf. He discovers that it contains, on his sensors rather, he discovers that it contains a human who have been the focus of many hunts among his people over the years, and he decides that this would be a worthy opponent. He boards the Red Dwarf. When Holly speaks to him, he says, "All right, dude."
All right, dudes.
The Predator blasts the monitor with his gun. Soon his life signs detect a hologram, a mechanoid, a humanoid and a full human. The crew are startled and flee. Lister looks for his bazookoid and finds it. The Predator has already moved on the others. Rimmer says, "Please don't shoot," and deactivates himself. His light beat drops to the ground. Crichton is holding a mop and rubs the Predator's mask with it. The Predator bashes the mop away and punches Crichton against the wall, deactivating him. The cat starts playing with some string, and the Predator decides he's not a worthy opponent and ignores him. Lister fires his bazookoid, hitting the Predator in the face. The Predator moves his mask but focuses his weapon on Lister. The Predator fires and damages the bazookoid that Lister is holding. Lister thinks that playing his guitar could take his focus away from conflict, but he simply annoys the Predator further. The Predator grabs Lister by the neck and pulls out his hand dagger, ready to kill him. Lister decides to grab his curry, which he was enjoying, and throws it in the Predator's face. The curry acts like sulfuric acid, dissolving his head and killing the Predator, and the Predator is no more. Rimmer switches back on and says that he made a very good distraction. The end. Silence. Silence.
So you've killed the Predator with a fucking curry?
Yeah, he killed it with a curry.
I don't believe this.
What?
You killed the fucking Predator with a curry?
Yeah, because it was based on something in the curry's... whatever. It also is 3 million years in the future. It might have elements...
God.
There we go.
You've just destroyed 30 years of Predator this year.
Look, I worked 10 minutes thinking up that storyline.
I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I've got this vision when it's stalking them down the corridor. It's playing their voices back like Smeghead and all that.
Oh, yeah, Smeghead, yeah.
You know, like, you know what he used to do? It's repeat.
Yeah, the laughing.
Like,
yeah, that'd be quite funny. Yeah, that's quite funny. So
yeah.
there you go. So basically, Lister won. and his curry, his mutton vindaloo, was the key. And so we know now that if the predators ever come across anyone with a mutton vindaloo, then it's like the kryptonite is to Superman, and it will kill him.
Fucking hell. Our entire predator species wiped out that. He was going to lose. I mean, going into that universe, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, you could have took that from anywhere, and he got done by a fucking curry.
Yeah, that's right. Well, look, that's what I came up with. There you go.
No, I think it's great. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I know.
I mean, you got fuckwork, and he's got Lister up against the wall with his throat, ready to fucking trophy fight him.
Yeah.
And Lister's got his vindaloo and smacks it on his face.
In the face, yeah, because I thought earlier on that he revealed his face, so he's got his skin showing up, and of course he rubs the curry in his face, and he acts like acid, and he just dissolves, and he just dies.
I think we've killed 11 predators so far.
Actually, yeah, I think so. So this is episode 14. So have we Predator won 3 times?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so the Predator's
He's
not
doing very well at the moment.
Yeah, so like I said, Lister's curry is the victor this week. I'm afraid.
I picture it right now because he's got that hat on, that leather jacket, and he's got him against the wall. And he's coming out with some stupid, ridiculous fucking line.
Yeah,
and he's got this curry in his hand, and predators. He's been right serious. He doesn't realise in this insane fucking bonkers universe got a clue that he said nothing's right, and he gets this curry and he smacks it on his face.
Yeah, he said, "Eat this, Meghead," or something, and then it goes.
And then Crichton mops him up at the end. What's left?
And I just added that sound I just made. I just added some reverb to make it more creepy. So there you go. So next week, apparently, you're going to do, unless you change your mind, Predator versus Tarzan.
Well, I was thinking about doing Predator versus Jaws.
Oh,
you know, from
do predators breathe
James
underwater?
James Bond.
Oh, I think you meant Jaws the fish, the shark.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, how can you have Predator versus Jaws? Oh, okay. No, that'd be good.
Oh, your Predator just got defeated by a curry.
Lister's curry. Yeah.
And then Predator can take on Jaws.
Jaws will try and bite him in the neck or something, I suppose.
I mean, well, that's going to be an hard one to work out. But yeah, no, I like that. I like the old curry thing. I think that. I thought you was going to go for some like time anomaly.
No, it's going to be something comedic because Red Dwarf's comedy.
Yeah,
I can see that happening in an episode of Red Dwarf where they discover something based on human life, which of course everything is in Red Dwarf. But they discover that a curry will kill it or something. I could see that happening in an episode, definitely.
That's fantastic. Honestly, I really is good. I've just got this vision of him, L being held against well, going smacking L, and
smacking L.
Predator's like studying his face, like going.
And he just manages to reach down far enough to grab his plate of
curry.
curry and smash it in his face. He eats it.
Eat
this, Smeghead, and of course he doesn't know that was like acid to the predator. So there we go.
Yeah, and Predator scanners scanned him and gone useless. You know, human being, human male, useless or something like that. You know, like that.
Yeah.
The heat signature's a bit off or something. You know, when it's near him, you know, and he's like, it's because of all curry he's eaten.
Yeah.
Well, you did it.
Oh, thank you.
You did it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I think the cat. I was trying to think of something for the cat, but I mean, the cat could have just done something silly, and the predator just thought it's not worthy.
No, it's got to be Lister.
It had to be Lister. Rimmer's going to be hiding and stuff. I just thought, let's just switch him up. Just switch myself up. Yeah.
I'll take you be a good one, Ace Rimmer.
Oh, well, we could do another one in the future with Back to Red Dwarf. Well, an alternate universe is a different Rimmer. So, what if the Predator goes to the alternate universe, Ace Rimmer? I don't know. Yeah. All right. So we may have another Predator versus Red Dwarf in a different context in the future.
Definitely. Look, last week, Manimal got defeated as an hamster. So, I mean, look, this week it's a killer. So, I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, come on.
And don't forget, soon we're going to do a special. We're going to release a special if we have a week off soon. I'm sure soon. Well, maybe at Easter or something, depending on what we can do.
Yeah.
If you fancy a week off, I'll edit all the Predator verses in the special, which will probably last about an episode.
I was thinking, Jaws from James Bond, but he's not the brightest of people, is he? Jaws.
Well, give us some thought. Let me know. I mean,
let me know what if you come up with, because I was trying to work an angle out for Jaws over the last 3 days, and I watched a bit of Moonraker, and I don't know. I love Jaws, I do, but I don't know.
He's a bit two-dimensional, isn't he? He hasn't got a.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, look, if not, then if you think of anything, go back to your Tarzan.
Tarzan, Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan. No, not the other Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan. You know, the Cheetah and Boy and Jane. And
if you do Tarzan, I'll have to do lots of cheesy Tarzan sound effects on the old classic.
Can do any. You can do as much as you want.
Yeah,
honestly, if you've got anything to add to Tarzan, the Lord of the Jungle.
I'll do the sound effects, as you know. I'll do all the funny sound. All right, matey. Well, look, I'm going to sign off now because we need out of recording time. Thank you. Really good show. Interesting discussion. Curry. That's it. That's the hashtag curry. That was so working on an episode of Red Dwarf, so I'm pleased I thought about it. This week we'll end up with a song, and I don't know whether you ever heard this. Did you know that the actor Brent Spiner released an album back in the 80s called Old Yellow Eyes Is Back?
Yes, he did. I had it years ago.
Well, there we go. So you're now going to hear him singing Good Night, Sweetheart.
God, I've not heard this I remember he released that. I bought it in Virgin. It was a special edition.
I know, and it's a really cheesy album, but good. Brent Spiner's got a sense of humour, and Good Night, Sweetheart is also a well-known sci-fi series, a comedy series, which I like as well. Yes. So there we are, another link to sci-fi. So there you go, guys. Thank you, Martin. We'll be back. Yes. Enjoy this song from Brent Spiner, and catch you later. And live long and prosper.
And to you and everybody else.
Cheers, then, laters.
Good night, sweetheart. Till we meet tomorrow. Good night, sweetheart. Sleep will banish sorrow. Tears and parting may make us forlorn, but with the dawn a new day is born. So I'll say good night, sweetheart, though I'm not beside you. Good night, sweetheart, still my love will guide you. Dreams enfold you, in each one I'll hold you. Good night, sweetheart. Good night.